Join us now on Sports Talk ATL, Big Low Country. If you don't already, follow him on YouTube at Big Low Country, Big Country with a Kuntry. Big Low. Unfortunately, we're not talking to you after a good week. We're talking to you after a terrible. You're not supposed to see these kind of losses in the NFL. You're really not. Like maybe if you're the Jags who are 2-9.
Yeah,
you
playing
see
the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, you see a loss like this. But against the Broncos, a team that's leading the division, a team that you think could potentially win a playoff game. A couple weeks ago, we were even talking about NFC favorites maybe. Getting beat 38-6 going into your bye week leaves a sour taste in all of our mouths. Were you in Denver, Big Low?
Man, I didn't get a chance to go to Denver. And sad to say it's a good thing that I didn't because, bro, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
If I had the answers, I wouldn't be sitting here with you boys. I'd be on the field. I'd be in Flowery Branch, coming up with something for the Chargers. We got to do something different, man. I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. We got to beat like a stepchild. I mean, It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. And listen, maybe Bo Nix is better than I'm giving him credit for, but he's still not that good. I mean, he's a rookie.
Nobody's that good unless
good.
It's Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Drew Brees. I mean, that was Sean Payton and Drew Brees because the ball was getting out of his hands fast. And you know who they were playing? They were playing the same defense that Dan Quinn ran, where it's just, we're not going to rush anybody. We're not going to change anything up. We're going to guard beyond the yard marker and try to come up and make a tackle, which early in the season was working. But you faced a good offensive coordinator who recognized that, whose bread and butter is quick passing game, screens, and all this stuff, especially when you have missing guys who can't really tackle.
A critical piece of that approach is making the tackle. And we couldn't tackle a soul. Maybe it's time on the walkthrough Wednesdays, we do some Oklahoma drills or something because we can't tackle a lick.
Bro.
I mean,
the fact of the matter is that those guys are getting put in those situations way too much.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a situation where that's the bread and butter of your defense. The bread and butter of your defense is to always play on your heels and come. I mean, look, if that's the case, you might as well just put 7 linebackers out there. If that's the case, if everybody's going to be just playing back and then coming up and making tackles, just put 7 linebackers out there so we'll have a better chance of making the tackle. All of this, having guys play 10 yards off, and then they literally scored on the same play 2 times. They ran a tunnel screen, and I mean, we just everybody's back too far, and the offensive line coming up and blocking everybody out the way, easy touchdown. I mean, it made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, and listen, Alex actually wrote something on the site. I think you agree. I mean, you're one of the first people that we talked about earlier this season where we were talking about the X's and the O's and the Jimmys and the Joes, as you talked about, and talking about this pass rush. And I definitely think it's a mix of both. I mean, listen, we can't sit here and rush 4 people. We've seen this. We cannot do it, right? We can't get pressure that way. And then when you're just playing off and you're rushing 4 and you're giving up the underneath thing, it's a recipe for disaster. And we're 11 weeks into the season. We've seen this time and time again, week after week. Are you not at all shocked, especially against a rookie in Bo Nix, who's had a lot of success when he hasn't been faced with pressure and has had almost no success when he's been pressured? And they didn't send anybody. They rushed 4 or fewer people on 89% of the plays this week.
Really? I did not know that.
89% of the plays against Bo Nix, knowing that they wouldn't be able to get pressure and just simply allowing that to happen, especially after they were just not able to stop him, scoring on 6 of 8 possessions. So it's mind-boggling to me, and I know the NFL is different than college where you can't just send pressure every single play. But the fact that they're so reluctant to do it while they're watching their defense get carved up for 400 yards, 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, it's shocking to me. And I hate to say it, it really does remind me of those same old Falcons when you had Dan Quinn. It really does.
And we'll see and what makes it even sadder is that, and because you mentioned, you was like, hey, are we surprised that Bo Nix was able to do this? Fact of the matter is, we have the highest completion percentage allowed to opposing quarterbacks after playing Justin Fields, Derek Carr twice, and a few other players.
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. Bo, the fact of the matter is that like this is just where we're at. Like, you got two of the best safeties in the league. Why not play man coverage and let those safeties run cover too?
Yeah, and bring pressure. And you can't get pressure with 4 people. We've watched it all season. Like, it's not happening.
My thing is, like, it's been so bad that changing it can't somehow make it worse. You can't go from the worst defense in the league to, 33rd. There's only 32 teams in the league. Now, I am embellishing quite a bit. You can get worse. You could be the worst defense in NFL history, but something's got to change. And it seems like Raheem Morris is going to go to bat for his guy. He seems like, obviously, he's a loyal guy. So Jimmy Lake is in no way, shape, or form in danger of being fired from where I sit. Raheem Morris said that. But at some point, you got to prioritize your team and your own job security over your friend and Jimmy Lake. I mean, whether that is suggesting to do something, demanding to do something different, or you kind of inserting yourself into the defensive game plan. I don't know how they come up with it week to week. Something has to change. And because the Chargers are waiting around the corner. And the Chargers are a damn good football team. They're going to run it down our throat, and then Justin Herbert's going to throw it over our heads. Like, it doesn't get any easier.
And then it's the Vikings after that.
And then the Vikings.
So, you got Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold, who I always talk about him. You can't hate on my boy Sam Darnold. He's having a turnaround year out there in Minnesota, but Aaron Jones is having a fantastic year, so they're going to be able to run the ball. The Chargers have been fantastic. We saw Justin Herbert on Sunday Night Football.
What's crazy to me, all right, tell me if I'm crazy. This defense shouldn't be this bad based on the names that we have.
No, it shouldn't.
And I know that name, on paper this, on paper that, whatever. We shouldn't be this bad. We've got 2 of the best safeties in the league. We got a very respectable corner in A.J. Terrell. I know we were missing several last week in the corner department. I mean, Caden Ellis has seemingly forgot how to play football. I don't think that's, a coincidence. Still got Grady Jarrett and David Onyemata. Like, Matt Judon isn't a bum. I mean, I'm failing to see how all of those names equates to a bottom 3 defense in the league.
Bro, the thing is that it's all about the situation that the players are getting put in. For example, if I'm having a party and I ask y'all to come grill for me, right? And I'm pretty sure y'all
made the right decision.
You don't want to put me in the position to grill. I feel like I know you're going. You don't want to put me in a position to grill. You want to put Alex in there. But if you put me in there, you're not going to be happy with what you get.
But look. The fact of the matter is, I know that y'all going to be gung ho, even if you're not completely, confident in your abilities. I know you're going to be like, hey, Bigelow asked me to man the grill. I'll man the grill, right? So you'll be gung ho. You'll be ready to go. And I say, I give you a lighter and be like, hey man, I need you to make these 100 hamburgers. You're not going to be as gung-ho as you were before because, you're going to be sitting there with the lighter, waving it back and forth. That's how Matthew Judon is right now. Matthew Judon knows he's not going to get home. He doesn't have enough time. So, I mean, as a pass rusher myself, if I know I'm not going to get there, the only thing I could do is put my hands up. How many tip passes have we seen this season?
Doesn't feel like a lot. I don't know.
It don't even, because the fact of the matter is they're not even getting, at the beginning of the season, we had a few more tip passes, but now it's like these guys are starting to check out. They're starting to realize that these guys are too far back. He's going to drop back, and if you run flood, somebody's going to be open near the sideline or right outside of the hashes. I'm just going to get it to them, and I know I'm not going to get home. I know that's not going to happen. They could take a shot, but why take a shot if you got everything underneath? Now the Saints, they took a couple of shots last week or the week before last, and I mean they had a chance to capitalize on them. But the fact of the matter is that whenever they picked their chances to take those shots, we didn't get home then because the guys are checked out. They're like, oh, okay. Now they're gonna go. So let me see if I can make something happen then. But these guys are checked out, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say they aren't checked out. I mean, like you said, you just don't see 38-6 wins in the NFL very often when you're talking about a team with playoff aspirations. Like that just doesn't happen. You know who that happens to? The Dallas Cowboys. That's who that happens
with
to.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, like no. That happens to the Dallas Cowboys when they're talking about a Super Bowl. They're like, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl, and then they lose like 38-6 to the Eagles. It's like, no, you're not. Or they lose in the playoffs like that. And frankly, you know, listen, I don't know where the Falcons go from here. They're battling a ton of injuries. I don't know if Jimmy Lake and Raheem Morris are going to change. I mean, they haven't changed to this point. Is that really going to be the straw that broke the camel's back? I
hope so.
Are the guys going to buy into it? Like, I mean, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if guys are checked out. I mean, this feels worse, feels bad. Like it feels like this could be the start of like a tumbling downhill.
If they're checked out, listen, I get it, Matt Judon. You know, no, I understand that you're 10+ year vet. You know, it's difficult. It's difficult to get up, every single Sunday when you know that you're not going to make your impact felt. I can totally understand that, but you got a job and you're in first place in your division, heading towards the very first playoff game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium history. If you're checked out, that is a damning indictment on Raheem Morris, who's, his strongest attribute coming into this season, as a head coaching candidate was his enthusiasm, his ability to connect to guys, and being that rah guy, no pun intended, raw, but like what, if we're not getting up for games, I mean, what are we doing? Like, that might be true. At some point, you got to treat them like third graders or something and give them something shiny to get them interested again, which yes. I don't think should be the case. But if you got it, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
I mean, if a $10 million check isn't enough, I don't know what is.
Yeah, well, Matthew John's in a contract here too. So it'd be kind of shocking if he's checked out, but he certainly doesn't look checked in.
Yeah.
Hello. but look, I mean, think about it like this. It's not just that though, guys. It's also, I mean, just small decisions like showing up in Denver at 6:00 the night before the game.
What?
I didn't even know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like they showed the night before the game. That's whenever they showed up in Denver. You going to play in Denver, a high altitude
night. They showed up Saturday night.
They showed up Saturday night. On a Saturday night. Yes, they showed up on Saturday night, Bo.
We need 2-a-days. I need 2-a-days. I don't care about these vet rest days. We need some discipline. We need some Bill Belichick. We need some, nobody's having fun if we're not winning. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. I listen, the last thing I'll say is as bad as that was, and it looked like everyone was checked out, I only hope that it was a situation where they were traveling back-to-back weeks. They were playing across the country. They had the bye week. They played 10 straight games. Maybe everyone had checked out a little bit, but maybe they can check back in over the bye week.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah, a lot of injuries. So there's a lot of let's hope it was more of that. But damn, it's hard not to look at that game.
This bye week can either propel us these rest of the games, 6 games into the playoffs, or that was a precursor of the downfall that you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it was a good time for the bye week. I think we can all agree with that. Like it couldn't be a better time for us all to lick our wounds, try to reset, and yada, yada, yada. Big Low, thank you so much for joining us. As always, dealing with some technical issues. You were a champ.
Yep.
Appreciate it, man.